The street light above me buzzed to life, casting a harsh glow on the woman standing in front of me. Her designer yoga outfit screamed money. Her perfectly styled blonde hair didn't budge in the evening breeze, and her posture arms crossed, chin tilted, practically screamed, "I'm in charge." She was fuming, her voice sharp enough to cut glass. "Turn them off now," she demanded, jabbing a manicured finger at the city badge on my chest. I didn't flinch, my arms folded over my neon safety vest. "No can do, Mrs. Langley," I said, my voice steady but laced with steel. "These lights are city property, and they're staying on." Her name was Cynthia Langley, the most notorious HOA president in Willow Grove, a ritzy neighborhood where the lawns were greener than envy and the rules stricter than a military boot camp. She'd been waging war on these streetlights for weeks, claiming they were a blight on her perfect community. But those lights weren't just bulbs, they were the only thing keeping kids safe on the bike path after dark. And right now, a group of middle schoolers stood at the corner, their phone flashlights flickering as they waited for their parents. Cynthia's eyes narrowed to slits. "This is Willow Grove property," she hissed. "The HOA has jurisdiction, not you. Those lights waste our dues and attract riffraff." I glanced at the kids, their sneakers scuffing the sidewalk. "Riffraff," I said, raising an eyebrow. "You mean 12-year-olds trying not to break their necks?" "Sorry, Mrs. Langley, but the HOA doesn't get to play God with public safety." Her face turned a shade of red that didn't exist in nature. "I'm calling the police," she snapped, yanking out her phone. "You're trespassing." I shrugged, turning back to the control panel. "Go ahead. Officer Daniels already tipped me off about this mess. I'm sure he'd love to chat about criminal negligence." Her jaw dropped, and for a second, I thought she might combust. How did I, Jake Harper, a guy who thought being a city electrical grid supervisor was the dullest job on earth, end up in a showdown with the queen of suburban tyranny? Let me take you back 3 weeks. I'm Jake, 34, 9 years deep with the Department of Public Works in this mid-sized Virginia town. For the last 3, I've been the guy keeping the electrical grid humming. Most days, it's just me, a stack of spreadsheets, and coffee so bad it could strip paint. Exciting? Hardly. An exciting grid means blackouts or fires, and I like boring. But that Wednesday morning, boring went out the window. My dispatcher, Sarah, poked her head into my office. "Jake, another call about Willow Grove. 3rd this week." I groaned, setting down my mug of sludge. "Maple Lane again?" She nodded. "Yep. Mom says her kid nearly got hit by a car walking home from soccer. No lights for 3 blocks." I pulled up the grid on my computer. Willow Grove was one of those neighborhoods where the houses cost more than I'd earn in a decade, and the HOA fees could choke a horse. The system showed power flowing fine. No outages, I muttered. Bulbs don't just die all at once. Sarah raised an eyebrow. "Mom's pissed. Says she's been begging the HOA to fix it, but they're ghosting her." I sighed. Great. Angry parents and a stuck-up HOA. My favorite combo. That afternoon, I drove my city truck to Willow Grove. The place was a postcard of suburban perfection. Massive homes, flawless landscaping, and signs everywhere. No street parking. No VY-sidle trash cans. No fun allowed. I parked near the entrance and started checking the streetlights. Even in daylight, something felt off. The fixtures were fine, but when I opened the control panels, my stomach dropped. Someone had installed manual override switches that weren't in our plans. A woman pushing a stroller approached, her face hopeful. "You hear about the lights?" she asked. "Yeah, Jake Harper, City Electrical. What's going on?" She sighed, relieved. "I'm Lisa Carter. We moved here 6 months ago. The lights were fine until a month back. Now, they shut off every night at 6:30 and stay off till morning." She nodded toward the middle school nearby. "Kids walk home on that bike path. My niece tripped and sprained her wrist last week because she couldn't see." I frowned. System shows power's normal, but someone's tampered with these panels. Any idea who? Lisa's face hardened. "Probably the HOA. Cynthia Langley, our president, is obsessed with neighborhood aesthetics. Her house is right by the path, and she's been whining about the lights at every meeting." Just then, A sleek black SUV rolled up, and out stepped Cynthia Langley herself, looking like she'd walked off the cover of Luxury VYing. "Excuse me," she called, her voice sweet but sharp. "What's this about?" I straightened. "Mrs. Langley?" "Jake Harper, city worker. We've got reports of streetlights out night. Just checking things." Her smile was all teeth. "Oh, that. We started an Energy SA VYing program. The lights dim in the evening to cut our carbon footprint." Lisa snorted softly beside me. I kept my tone even. "These are city lights, ma'am. Any changes need city approval, and these overrides aren't authorized." Cynthia's smile tightened. "A misunderstanding. Our contractor, Summit Electric, must have made an error. I'll handle it." She turned to Lisa, her voice dripping with venom. "Lisa, isn't your fence permit up for re-VYEW next week? Wouldn't want that to lapse." Lisa paled and mumbled an excuse, hurrying off with her stroller. Cynthia smirked at me. "No need to waste city resources, Mr. Harper. I've got this." I watched her drive away, snapping photos of the tampered panels. Something stank. It wasn't just her perfume. The next morning, I called Summit Electric. Their project manager, Greg, sounded nervous. "Yeah, we worked on Willow Grove last month. Weird gig. That HOA lady, Cynthia, insisted on the overrides. Said the city approved it, had paperwork with a seal and everything." I pinched my nose. "You didn't check with us?" Greg hesitated. "It was a rush job, big bonus. The paperwork looked legit. I demanded their records and warned him about losing their license. By noon, I had the files, work orders, invoices, and a city letter that screamed forgery. Cynthia had played dirty, and I was done playing nice. I headed to the police station to see Officer Tom Daniels, our go-to for infrastructure issues. "So, this HOA queen's blacking out a path where kids walk." Tom said. "Offer me a donut." I waved off. "That's nuts." I nodded. "It's illegal and dangerous. Question is, who handles it? City property, HOA land, possible fraud." Tom leaned back, his chair creaking. "It's messy. She'll lawyer up, claim HOA rights. City could sue, but that's slow." I clenched my jaw. "So we let her keep endangering kids?" Tom shook his head. "Hell no. But expect a fight. I've dealt with her type. Rules don't apply to them." That night, I returned to Willow Grove as dusk fell. The path was pitch black, just as the kids' parents had described. I started undoing Summit's overrides, my flashlight bobbing in the dark. I was nearly done when Cynthia's SUV screeched to a stop. She stormed out, her face a mask of fury. "What the hell are you doing?" she yelled. "My job," I said, not looking up. "Fixing city lights you broke." She stepped closer, her voice rising. "This is HOA property. We have a deal with the city." I stood, the light above us flickering on. "No deal exists, Mrs. Langley. These lights are on city easements, and your little stunt's a safety hazard." Her eyes blazed. "Do you know who I am? My husband's on the Public Safety Committee." I couldn't help IT. I smirked. "Greg Langley? He's on an advisory board with zero power." "Nice try." She sputtered, then blocked my path. "I'm calling the police. You're vandalizing our property." 10 minutes later, Officer Daniels pulled up. Cynthia ran to him, practically shrieking. "Tom, arrest this man. He's trespassing." Tom gave me a quick nod before turning to her. "Cynthia, Jake's here on city orders. The HOA doesn't own these lights." He handed her an envelope. "This is for you." She ripped it open, her face cycling through shock, rage, and panic as she read the cease and desist letter. "This is absurd," she screamed. "I was protecting our community from those lights." A new voice cut through the night. "Protecting? You nearly got my grandson hit by a car." I turned to see a group of residents, led by an older man with white hair and a no-nonsense VYB. Ed. Cynthia snapped. "Stay out of this." Ed crossed his arms. "It's our business, Cynthia. The HOA never approved this. You lied about light shields and plunged us into darkness." Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Lisa stepped forward, her voice steady. "It's not even about the lights. You hate that public school kids walk by your house. You think they tank your property value." The crowd gasped, and Cynthia's composure cracked. "I was handling it," she shouted. I couldn't resist. By turning off streetlights kids need to see, real classy. Tom stepped in. Enough. Jake's finishing the lights. Cynthia, comply with the letter or face charges. Outnumbered, Cynthia stormed back to her SUV, yelling about an HOA meeting. Ed called after her. We are the board. Meeting's tomorrow, 7 p.m., don't be late. An hour later, the path glowed again. Residents lingered, offering coffee and spilling dirt on Cynthia's reign of terror. Banned flower beds, fined kids' lemonade stands, you name it. 3 weeks later, I returned for a follow-up. The lights were perfect, and new gardens and benches lined the path. Lisa approached, her toddler toddling beside her. Jake, big changes since you were here, she said, grinning. Cynthia's out. Ed's president now, and she's selling her house. I laughed. How'd she take it? Lisa's eyes sparkled, like a toddler in a tantrum. Oh, and the kids made you this. She handed me a card covered in signatures and doodled streetlights with smiley faces. Inside, it read, thanks for lighting our way. My throat tightened. 9 years, and no one had ever thanked me like that. There's more, Lisa said, a bit shy. We're HOA-ing a cookout Saturday to celebrate the path upgrades. You should come. Tom's already in. I noticed her smile, the way it lit up her face, and the absence of a ring on her finger. I'd like that, I said, meaning it. DRIVYing away. I realized my job wasn't just wires and circuits, it was people, lives, safety. Cynthia's cease and desist letter sat in my truck. I might frame it. A reminder that even a boring job can put you in the fight for what's right. So what do you think? Was Cynthia just a control freak? Or did she have a point about property values? Should HOAs have more power over city infrastructure? Or is public safety non-negotiable? And let's get real, would you have stood up to her like Jake, or let her steamroll you? Drop your thoughts below. Hit that like button if you're Team Streetlight, and subscribe for more stories that'll keep you glued to your screen.